Hey, yo, what's up, YouTube, man? It's your boy, Ashton Jackson. In today's video, man, I'm going to be talking about the Trevon Diggs situation and why that is so crucial for the season and for the roster. And then I'm also going to be talking about roster cuts, who got waived, released, who got put on the IR list. Guys like Peyton Turner just recently got put on IR. So did Jonathan Mingo, dealing with PCL injury. So before we hop into the video, I would appreciate if you guys would like the video, subscribe if you're new, comment, and share my video with anyone who you think will enjoy my content. Hopping straight into it, man. I'm talking about this Trevon Diggs situation, man. I got the jersey on and everything. I always advocated for Trevon Diggs. I knew what he was dealing with in terms of just from what I was looking from the outside and from what people was talking about in the building. I never thought Trevon Diggs was a problem. I just felt that when he was dealing with those injuries, I was hearing about they didn't like the way he rehabbed. He came back in the 2024 season. He didn't, he looked decent. He still was able to catch, three interceptions, but he wasn't that level of playmaker that we wanted him to be. But that was because we had so many injuries, whether it was if DeMarvin Overshown wasn't in the lineup because of politics from the defense coordinator we had at the time, Mike Zimmer, not wanting to play him at certain times in base packages or have him out there as a second linebacker in the nickel formation, or you know, D Law would be hurt, Micah would be hurt. We would have so many injuries last year that it was tough for the pass rush to get home to make Trevon Diggs and that secondary look good. But there was a lot of talk of and a lot of people throwing dirt on his name that they wanted to get rid of him, that they wanted to trade him, and everything of that nature. I feel that if you want to go far in the playoffs and that if you finally want to end this 30 plus year drought, 7 is going to be part of the reason why you host the Lombardi Trophy, and we need as many playmakers as we need possible. Because don't forget, and I never forget this, and the reason why sometimes I don't really care about fandom, because just 3 to 4 years ago you were just screaming his name and super proud that he was had the pick six, tied the pick six, or not tied pick six. I'm sorry, he tied the interception single season record with Everson Walls, again another Cowboy, and he was making plays. He was locking down your favorite wide receiver one, and he was doing everything of that sorts. Now he gets injured, and it was just like a pile on type of thing that he had throughout his career, and everyone was throwing dirt on his name. They wanted to get rid of him. They wanted to trade him. They said he's lazy. He said he doesn't care about football. He just cares about other things outside of football. So now that he's back and he's off the pup list, a lot of people owe him an apology. The only thing I was hard about him about was that you need to take the rehab more seriously if that's the case. If they're saying the reason why you're not coming back to full strength is because you're not rehabbing properly, then that's it. That was my only thing. But my thing was, okay, if you're dealing with an injury, you rehabbed with the team the first time, you didn't take it seriously, okay, cool. But now you rehab on your own with somebody else and they have you ready for the season. I don't care how you get rehab, but just as long as number 7 gets back on the field and he plays relative to how he was 3 to 4 years ago, that's all that matters to me, man. That's it. So now we're gonna be talking about the Dallas Cowboys roster, and I'm gonna be sharing my initial 53-man roster prediction. This is gonna be my only prediction, but so far, to give a little context on how I'm breaking down the roster is, yesterday, shout out to Tommy Yarsh. He had a list, compiled the list of Dallas Cowboy cuts. They have waived Nick Broker, Denzel Daxon, Josh Kelly, Tyler Neville, Troy Pride. John Stevens Jr. was the only one that really surprised me because he's your athletic tight end in just 3 seasons. So we drafted him in 2023. So about a season or two ago, it was guaranteed by the front office. Stephen Jones had came out and said that if John Stevens Jr. was healthy, he was going to make the roster. So it sucks that he got waived. I think that we will be able to reclaim him back on the. I think we'll be able to get him back is what I'm pretty much saying. And then it was also news this morning that we released Rafalo Fairweather. So I wanted him. I had him making my initial 53-man roster, but now since he got waived, now I have to put Luke Schoonmaker back into the team because initially I didn't have Luke Schoonmaker making the team. I thought that if we just release Schoonmaker or waive Schoonmaker and bring him back on the practice squad, I think we were probably going to be able to do that instead of keeping him on the main roster. But we have outright released Lel Collins, and then we waived / put on IR Christian Matthews, was dealing with an injury. Lyle Collins was just injury depth insurance in case, just in case somebody was hurt type of thing. Um, Again, when he got signed, that's why I didn't make a video about it. I just really wasn't too hype about it. And Lyle Collins this isn't 2018, 2019 no more, unfortunately. So Lyle Collins isn't that player that we wanted him to be, you know. Um, Also, the Dallas Cowboys, they put Peyton Turner and Jonathan Mingo on the IR to start the season, meaning that they're going to miss at least the first 4 games. The Dallas Cowboys did waive rookie and fan favorite wide receiver Trayshawn Holden. I think the biggest discrepancy with the wide receiver battle between 5 and 7 was that if you're not able to provide anything on a special team note, I don't think that teams or coaches are going to find a way to keep you. Again, I'm not upset with the way Trayshawn Holden played at all. I felt that if Joe Milton was a little bit more accurate with his throws week 1 and 2, I feel like Trayshawn Holden probably would have made the roster. But it was reported by Jordan Schultz that he's expected to have strong interest on the waiver wire. So that's something to also look out for as well. If he does get released, don't be surprised if he gets claimed. And another news is that the Dallas Cowboys did place rookie running back Phil Mafah on IR dealing with a shoulder injury. So again, he's going to miss 4 games. So that's pretty much good news for a guy like Miles Sanders, who I didn't have making the 53-man roster. That's really good for him. And if the Dallas Cowboys want to keep 2 veterans and have Jaden Blue as their third back, and then have Hunter Lepke, because Hunter Lepke is going to make the roster, I can see that happening as well. Just recent news as well, since we're talking about the Dallas Cowboys, it has been reported that the Seattle Seahawks did release running back Damian Martinez. That was somebody I was very high on in the draft that I had a 4th-round grade on. He got drafted in the 7th round out of Seattle. He ran for 1,000 yards last year at Miami. He was a really good player. Again, the waiver wire order is depicted upon how the draft order went this last year. So because we had the 12th overall pick, we're at the 12th spot in the waivers. So prayerfully that we're able to get Damian Martinez, but I can see other teams in front of us, like maybe Frisco, the Colts, the Bears. I can see some of those teams. The Saints might want a guy like Damian Martinez, but we're going to figure out how that may go. But I really want the Dallas Cowboys to look at that position and see if we can pick up a guy that if we're gonna put Phil Mafah on IR, I want Damian Martinez to come in, because I think Damian Martinez can be that starting and be possibly that running back 1 for you if you were to pick him up and claim him off the waiver wire. In other news, real quick for the Dallas Cowboys roster, the Dallas Cowboys have released veteran offensive lineman Sadiq Charles, and it was reported that the Dallas Cowboys would like to see him return to the practice squad. So that's all the news that I pretty much have for the Dallas Cowboys roster on Trevon Diggs. Now we're just going to be talking about my initial 53-man roster. These are my thoughts. It's not concrete. I don't have any insider notes or nothing. We're going to go through this pretty quickly. So quarterback, we're going to have 2 of them. We're going to have Dak. We're going to have Joe Milton. Running back, I have 4 of them. I have Javonte Williams, Miles Sanders, Jaden Blue, Hunter Lepke. Yes, I'm counting Hunter Lepke as a back. So I have 4 backs. I wanted to keep Phil Mafah, but they put him on IR, so he's going to miss the first 4 games, and then we can play Ring Around the Rosie. We can mix and match our running backs with Miles Sanders and Phil Mafah. Once Phil Mafah is ready past Green Bay, we can be like, okay, we'll call up Phil Mafah, bump down Miles Sanders, and then call it Phil Mafah for another game, and then we'll eventually have to add Phil Mafah to the eventual roster, because you only have 2 roster or game day call-ups before you have to be activated onto the active roster. Wide receiver, I'm keeping 5. CeeDee Lamb, Pickens, Turpin, Tolbert, Ryan Flournoy. Jonathan Mingo was originally going to make the roster, but since he's on IR and he's dedicated to miss the first 4 games, I have to add another wide receiver. And if I'm adding that last wide receiver, it's going to be Ryan Flournoy. I think he's an overall better wide receiver than Jalen Brooks, Trayshawn Holden, in terms of he can block better than those guys. He's a better route runner. He's a better playmaker, and also he's really damn good on special teams. So that's the main reason why Ryan Flournoy was going to make the roster in my estimation. Tight end, keeping three: Jake Ferguson, Beveridge Span four, Luke Schoonmaker. Again, before I heard the news on Rafaldo Fairweather, I was gonna have Rafaldo over Luke Schoonmaker, but the Dallas Cowboys are trying to keep Luke Schoonmaker around, even though he's been hurt. He's had three consecutive off season of him dealing with something, and he hasn't shown anything for me in the past 3 years as he's been a Dallas Cowboy for me to say, okay, I'm going to keep you over one of these UDFAs that we have, other than Beverage Span Ford. I'm keeping 10 of them. Other than your starting five, your backups are going to be Brock Hoffman, Johnny Cornelius, Austin Richards, Nate Thomas, TJ Bass. I'm keeping Brock Hoffman because of the familiarity. He can play center and guard. I'm keeping Johnny Cornelius because of the zero pressures he's been allowing the past 2 weeks versus the Falcons and the Ravens. And they forget the PFF grades. What his tape and what he's been showing the past 3 weeks from the Rams, Ravens, and Falcons have been really good. I can't get rid of him. I can't take him off the roster for a guy like Akeem Adeniji or something of that nature. I'm keeping Johnny Cornelius, and plus he's a draft pick, so a lot of the times the Dallas Cowboys are going to politic and want to keep those guys. Austin Richards is a guy I want to keep around. He can play tackle, he can play guard, he can play center, is what they're trying to have him do. But I'd rather have him be a left side player, have him play either guard or tackle. Nate Thomas, he's going to be your starting left tackle until Tyler Guyton is able to play. But I've been hearing great news about Tyler Guyton as well. I'm hearing that Tyler Guyton is also able to play, or not able to play, but he's coming back already from his injury and he's practicing. So he's all that much closer to starting week one. So that's major news and massive news for us as Dallas Cowboy fans, that potentially you could be getting your starting cornerback back, and then you can be getting your starting offensive tackle back week one versus Philadelphia, which it makes everything all the better, right? Or makes things bittersweet. I'm keeping around 6 defensive ends: Micah, Ezeraku, Fowler, Nealand, Sam Williams, James Houston is remaining on the roster for me. I'm keeping 4 defensive tackles: Osa, Solomon, Perrion, Mozzie. Mozzie was a shoe-in fit. If we can get better at that position, I would not be surprised if the Dallas Cowboys cut Mozzie Smith. He hasn't done anything overall for me to say, oh, he's a definite, has to make the roster. But he's going to make the roster because of first-round pick, because he's one of our only experienced nose tackles on the roster. But if I'm the Dallas Cowboys, I'll try to get better at that position. I would love to keep Jay Tuia, but if I have to add on Jay Tuia, that means I got to cut somebody else. And who are you going to cut on this roster to make room for Jay Tuia? I don't know. I don't think the Dallas Cowboys want to go short at linebacker. Linebacker's the next position group, but I don't know if the Dallas Cowboys want to go short at another position to make room for a guy like Jay Tuia. But who knows? My linebackers, I'm keeping Marius Leofau, DeMarvin Overshown. He's going to be on IR probably, or PUP. So that makes room for another linebacker. I'm keeping Kenneth Murray, Jack Sanborn, and Shamar James. Those are going to be your 4 linebackers. And then once DeMarvin Overshown comes back into the roster, we'll have to make room. Safeties, I'm keeping 4: Malik Hooker, Donovan Wilson, Wanye, Marquise Bell. I don't know what we're going to do with Elijah Clark out of Syracuse. We made him the highest prioritized undrafted free agent. We gave him, but the Dallas Cowboys gave him $250,000 to be a Dallas Cowboy. So I wonder what they're going to do at that particular position. I wonder who might get cut. I know Wanye got a deal. I know Marquise got a deal. I know Donovan Wilson has been solid for you, and so has Malik Hooker, has been both solid for you in training camp. Does one of those veterans, or does a guy like Wanye possibly get cut to keep a guy like Elijah Clark? Or do we just keep 5 safeties, or then we just take away from the cornerback position to make room? I don't know. But cornerback, since Trevon Diggs is healthy, he adds to the roster. But Ezra Mukwamu, Dewan Bland, Kyer Elam, Kalen Carson, depending on what they're going to do with him, I don't know, IR or PUP, I'm not sure. And then you're going to have Trey Diggs, CJ Goodwin for special teams, Zion Childress, and Savon Revel Jr. is going to possibly be put on PUP or IR, which is, again, making room for that spot. Special teams, I'm keeping 3 players. Your kicker is going to be your all-pro kicker, Brandon Aubrey, your punter, Brian Anger, and your long snapper, Trent Sieg. Again, this was a jam-packed video. I gave you my thoughts on the Trevon Diggs situation. I gave you my thoughts on the waiver wire cuts, what made sense, what didn't make sense, and then also my initial 53 man roster um, prediction. And plus, we're gonna have more thoughts and ideas once we're hearing more cuts happen because the final cut day is today for Tuesday. So again, that's about it for the video. Hope you guys have a nice day. Stay safe, stay blessed. Bye.